Hello and welcome to Kim's Cozy Corner. Today we're going to talk about all things potatoes. We finally got all of our potatoes in for the year, and I do mean all of them. I don't have any seed potatoes left. And this year I've decided to grow potatoes in 3 different methods versus 2. The first one, of course, is in a metal raised bed that I had such great luck with last year. And so we're going to do it again. So we have them growing here and one other area, which I will show you in just a moment. But we're also going to grow in pots and in a box. Let me show you. Here's my box of potatoes, and they are looking good. I have a video of where I started this box, but I think I put in here, I don't know, 2 or 3 potatoes. I can't remember now, but I obviously have potatoes on this side and I have potatoes on that side, and they are looking good, y'all. And a lot of people grow potatoes in a box, so you don't have to have these fancy devices like a metal raised bed. So you don't have to have all of those fancy devices like a metal raised bed. All you need is a box, and they're usually free. You can find them anywhere. So I just put some soil in a box, and I have been backfilling it until we get to the top of the box. And I'm not going to put any type of support system on the box. I'm just going to try to keep it as simple as I can to show that you really don't need anything to grow potatoes. So we talked about the metal raised beds, we talked about the box, and now let's go over and talk about the containers. From a container standpoint, I'm growing in 2 types of containers other than the raised bed and the box. I'm growing in plastic pots, and I am also growing in fabric grow bags. I actually only have 3 plastic pots, and I have 3, 4, 5 fabric bags. And last year, my metal raised bed did best. And then it was the fabric pots and then the plastic pots. So we're going to do it again just to see if I'm going to get the same results this year or not. Some of these have been going now for a few weeks, but some of these I just did a few days ago and they haven't broken ground yet. This one here has been going for a couple of weeks, and that's Nicola, and it's doing really well. We got some russet potatoes right there and my purple Viking. So I've showed you all my other areas. This is the last area that I needed to share with you. And in this space here, this is the other metal raised bed. This raised bed, though, is only 11 inches deep, where the other metal raised bed was 17 inches deep. In this one, I am growing about 12 plants, I think. I think it's 12 plants in here, and they are thriving as well. So we will be able to see, does depth matter or not, because I planted them exactly the same way, but this is 11 inches versus 17 inches. And then we have the little experiment going on with the pots, whether it's a fabric grow bag or a plastic pot or a box. So now we've talked about all of the different ways that I'm going to grow my potatoes this year, but the one thing that's going to be consistent on all of them, except for the box, is that there's going to be trellising in place. And I like to trellis my potatoes. I believe it helps the potatoes stay tall and healthy and give it the airflow that it needs so that it can be successful throughout the year. Here's a clip that I did when I thought I was going to do a video just on the trellising. Let me cut it in so you can see the conversation I was having with you about trellising potatoes and why I trellis potatoes. I like to support my potato plants when they are growing. I've been doing this for many, many years, and it's not something that a lot of people like to do, or I've seen them do, at least not in the US. I find supporting my potato plants gives me a better harvest So let me show you what I'm talking about. So if we look in this bed right here, I have potatoes growing. There's no support on them yet, and they're all happy. Some of these are potatoes from last year. Some of these are new seedling potatoes, but nonetheless, they're very happy. They're nice, they're green, but let me see, the hones or the stalks on these actually are being eaten up by ants right now. Oh, there are ants all over this. Okay, we're gonna have to take care of that, but I got ants over here. Outside of the ants though, they are super happy and they're growing and they're flourishing. But they have just started growing. I want the stems to stay upright so I can keep making sure I have good airflow in here. And some of these stems get very tall. And if the stem gets very tall, they could fall over. These are purple Viking potato plants right here, purple Viking potato plants. And they get super tall plants. I mean, usually they're standing pretty tall. And if they get super tall, and let's say you don't water the way you're supposed to, and they can get limp and weepy, and they can fall over. And it could lead you to believe that the potatoes are ready to harvest when they're really not. And so by putting some type of support system, and on this one, I just have a wire mesh on top, and I will put a link to how I like to use this mesh to set up this area. By putting this mesh on here, the potato plants can grow up in between the mesh, and that will keep them upright. One of the other things about potatoes is that they need good airflow. And I plant my potatoes kind of close together, probably about 8 inches apart. Okay, maybe 6 to 8 inches, depending on the variety. You need to be able to get good airflow in there so that it doesn't rot away, basically. And so to ensure that good airflow, holding these stems up will let that airflow nicely in between your plants. And so I use the mesh for this raised bed right here. And I had the best potato harvest I've ever had, one, in this raised bed. And I also used something to keep the plants upright. Now, there's nothing super fancy about this process at all. At all. Nothing fancy at all. But it has worked for me in the past, and so I am going to keep doing what works. That's the key piece. If you find something that works, use it. So this is how I manage my raised beds with this type of material. But for my individual pots, and I do have potatoes growing in pots as well, for the potatoes in these pots, I like to use this type of trellising. I just got these off of YouTube. There's nothing fancy about them, y'all. There's nothing fancy at all. But I bought them on YouTube. A lot of times people will use these to hold up larger flowers and things of that nature. But I use these little round things. They come in big packs, small packs, all different sizes. And then I stick that into each one of my pots. And so as the stems come up, they will come up in between these, and it'll keep them nice and strong. Now, here's a video of where I didn't water like I should have. And all of my potato stems fell over. And when they fell over, there was no airflow. So then they started rotting, and it smelled like rotten potatoes, just to be honest with you, when I realized that the issue was they didn't have the supports they needed. So from lack of watering. But anyway, I have a ton of potatoes started for the year, hoping for a great potato season again this year. Last year we grew, I think it was 120 pounds or so of potatoes, and we're going to try to outdo that this year with fewer seed potatoes than we started with last year. But I just wanted to show you what I've been working on from a potato standpoint in my garden. All of the links to the materials I use to, I don't want to say trellis, but help my potatoes stand. The links will be below if you're interested in getting these. And there will also be a link in the video for this area right here. So last year I tried the little round trellising system. I didn't like the way it worked, so then I came back with this system, and there'll be a link in the video below to how I came up with this ideal last year. And now you know how I'm going to make sure that I got them standing upright to give that airflow that they need to keep them happy and healthy while we're waiting on those tubers to form down below. I hope you enjoyed the video about potatoes and how things are looking in my late spring garden. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to the channel, turning on notifications, and alerting your family, your friends. Just tell everybody all about it. So until next time, and I hope there will be a next time that you hang out with me at Kim's Cozy Corner. Bye.